you could be looking for one for a variety of reasons. It's certainly more fuel efficient than driving a car and definitely more convenient to get through traffic. You may even be buying it for your son or daughter so that they can commute to college. Or maybe you like the idea of owning a shiny new scooter. You're probably wondering which one to buy though, and this conversation hopefully will help you at least reduce the number of items on that list. Let's talk to the expert. Rishaad Mody, Assistant Editor Bikes at Autocar India, is joining me now. Rishaad, thank you so much for taking the time. This is Wheels Wednesday, and we're talking about scooters, which is right down your alley. But I think the way that you look at scooters has changed over the last few years. So first, let's start with trying to categorize them. How would you define the scooter segment right now?
It's interesting because the segment has really evolved and exploded over the last 5-7 years. There was a time when the scooter, as you said, was just pure transport, no nonsense, automatic, comfort, convenience, easy to get around town. We have a lot more choice today, and you still have the traditional scooter, which is still the best-selling scooter off the market, that 110cc segment dominated by the Honda Activa. Those products still exist. Above that, you've got the 125cc segment, which gives you a largely similar experience, straightforward, no nonsense, practical, but a little more performance, a few more features, and not too much of a sacrifice in fuel efficiency. Beyond that, though, is where we've seen a lot of change in the last few years, where you've got these enthusiast-oriented, youth-oriented, sporty scooters. Aprilia started the segment a few years ago. They've got a few 125s and a few 160s. And now we've got something very exciting from Yamaha called the Aerox, which is also a 150cc scooter. Very youthful, funky-looking thing, sporty. And these things are expensive. I mean, they're between 1.2, 1.8, a unique experience. And finally, we've got the electric scooters, which everyone's talking about. They're exploding onto the scene, no pun intended. But they are really picking up very quickly, and they are the future of the scooter segment because they're very practical. The running costs are amazing. And once the infrastructure picks up, they're really going to be everywhere. And they're quite nice to ride to commute on as well.
Yeah, and I think for the electric segment particularly, because of the FAME architecture, because of the various schemes that the government and state governments as well have for electric vehicles, they're actually comparable in terms of price, right? But let's talk about the price points as well, because I think even in the segments that you've defined, one can go segment-wise and talk about even the price points. So the 110cc, I would assume, is at the bottom of the pyramid and obviously the largest segment. But let's talk about the best in each category. So let's start with the mass market. Which, according to you, stands out? Is the Activa still the war horse that you would definitely go for? Or is there a contender that would beat the Activa right now?
The Activa has been the bestseller for years. And in our market, when something reaches the top, it's really hard to get it off that spot. It's a fantastic product because it's just engineered to the point of perfection and what its role is. Very reliable, very refined, easy to get along with. And because of the sheer sales numbers, the resale value is good. In our opinion, though, we've sort of leaned towards the TVS Jupiter over the years. It just feels like you get slightly more for the money, a little more of an engaging ride, slightly better comfort, generally costs a little lower than the Activa model for model. And, you know, as a scooter riding experience, we tend to like the Jupiter a little more.
Okay, so there you have it. In the mass market segment, we've spoken about two main vehicles. But moving up the pecking order, and you talk about 125cc, it's also something that will cost more. As I understand it, there's a maxi scooter from Suzuki also to consider, right? The Bergman in that category, which a lot of people seem to be excited about. What stands out to you?
In the 125cc segment, you have a lot more. You have on the youthful enthusiast side, you've got the TVS Ntorq, which I really enjoy. I am a tall individual and I struggle to fit on most scooters in India. And the Ntorq is one of the only scooters that a tall rider will really be comfortable on. The handlebar will not be hitting your knees. That's very nice. The Ntorq isn't as efficient, efficiency-wise compared to its rivals, but it's lots of fun to ride. It's quick. The suspension comfort is good. It's generally a very nice scooter. The Access is typically the go-to option because great performance, surprisingly good performance, but without sacrificing fuel efficiency. It is the best 125cc seller in the market. So the benefits that the Activa has, the Access also has good resale value. It's got a good brand image in the market. So it's an easy scooter to buy. The Bergman is essentially an Access with a bigger body and better style, and you pay for the features it has. It has a better headlamp, a few more features. But riding experience-wise, the Access is pretty much the same as the Bergman. So that's an aesthetic decision to go for the Bergman.
What else would you say stands out? So you've named the Axis, and you've also talked about the N-Torque. Are these the only two to consider? And you said Bergman, of course, is an aesthetic choice. But is there anything in the 125cc apart from these that one should consider?
There are quite a few. If you go towards the Vespas and the Aprilias, then the price goes up. But at this point now, you're paying for Vespa style, heritage, and those sort of things. They're beautiful to look at. They're really nice to have parked in your garage, and they'll put a smile on your face. But they're expensive. So that is something you buy with design in mind. You also have the new TVS Jupiter 125, where they've completely rethought the formula. They've moved the fuel tank into the floorboard. So that has liberated a lot of space under the seat where you would normally have the fuel tank. So you got a lot of storage space under the seat, very practical, very nice to ride as well, and competitively priced, one of the more affordable 125s. It's a brand new product. It just came out a few months ago. Definitely worth considering.
Okay, let's move up the price point and let's talk about the scooters that the enthusiasts would go for, because you're either talking about the Aprilia, you're talking about the Yamaha, which you mentioned. The Vespas, I think, would fall into that category, right? Because you're buying it for nostalgic value, I guess. What, according to you, is the best performer? Because I think people are looking for performance in this category.
The best performer, without a doubt, is the new Yamaha. It's just blown its rivals out of the water because it's effectively brought in a motorcycle engine. It's a liquid-cooled engine. It has a radiator, and it's a 4-valve engine. So more technology, more power than anything else by quite a margin. It's about 15 horsepower, which is a lot more than any of the other scooters we've talked about so far. They're all 10, 11 horsepower. It looks fantastic. It's a very funky, different-looking thing, large wheels. Not the most practical scooter because the fuel tank takes up a lot of space. There's a big spine in the center, so you're not going to be able to carry your groceries and things very easily in the center. But for someone young, someone in college, it's the dream scooter right now.
Now, putting all of the factors that we've spoken about together, I want to talk about a city like Mumbai, or maybe even Pune, because Pune really, as we know, is the capital of scooters or two-wheelers. What, according to you, stands out for the best city scooter? Something that would help you navigate traffic, something that is no nonsense, something that is value for money, all of those things put together.
I would put it down to something that gave me enough performance that I could keep up or be a little quicker than the general traffic around me. Something that is effectively not too expensive to buy, not too expensive to run. And invariably, I would come down to something like the Suzuki Access 125 because it's a really great all-rounder. It's got the performance, not expensive, proven product, and very nice fuel efficiency. On the other hand, if your commute is not very long and if you have access to charging infrastructure, the new EVs are really nice. The Ather, very quick product. And if you have a commute of, let's say, 40, 50 kilometers or below, you're comfortably able to do this commute without range anxiety. So if you can charge at home or if you can charge at your place of work, you're confident of that, the new EVs are really worth considering. And the running costs are amazing.